Something different is in the air around Foxborough. There's real movement behind the scenes, a new piece coming in, a veteran whose status could flip, and a rookie starting to make noise against established names. There's a hot lead inside the division and a playbook opening wider by the week, and if I told you one decision on defense could reshape the entire rotation, would you buy it? That's not even the most surprising part. There's a target that could supercharge this offense and a smart bet with immediate impact. You won't believe what we've got today. Hit that like button and let's dive straight in. If you felt New England's offense breathing easier, you're not imagining it. With Drake May steering the ship, the ball's out faster, windows look bigger, and confidence is contagious, even for players who'd been doubted. Stephon Diggs has become the high-volume metronome. Kayshon Boutte stretches the field and rips open space underneath, while Mac Hollins and DeMario Pop Douglas round out the puzzle. But there's a next step, and it could be the switch that flips 2025 from very good to inexorable. The rumor mill has done more than whisper. Pro Football Network linked the Patriots to a potential push for Jaylen Waddle. Too bold? Maybe. But this is the kind of swing that separates teams that dream from teams that hang banners. Miami is under pressure, and in moments like these, expensive assets can become bargaining chips. If a window opens before the deadline, New England has to be at the front of the line. On the field, the fit is almost cinematic. Picture Waddle outside with Boutte and Diggs in the slot, forcing nickel and dime all day. Against quarters, May sees a lighter box and punishes with the run. Against single high, Waddle freezes the safety with pure speed, and Diggs carves the middle with option, pivot, and glance. Now sprinkle in play action. Once that corner flips his hips, the race is already over. The vertical threat also displaces coverage and multiplies yards after the catch for Pop Douglas. It's a chain of advantages that compounds snap after snap. As for cost, if the projection of a mid-round pick materializes, you don't overthink it. The 2025-26 cap hits are manageable. The heavier numbers down the road scare only those who ignore what elite production does to a balance sheet. Buying low on a 26-year-old playmaker with a history of 1,000-yard seasons, given the right quarterback, defines talent arbitrage. If Waddle rediscovers his peak with May, the move pays for itself in field position, red zone efficiency, and third down conversions. Tactically, Waddle lets this staff crank up fast motion, orbit, and jet to manipulate leverage and create free releases. In 3x1 with Waddle as the number, 3 in stacks, you force exchanges in coverage, in empty. Defenses have to declare the pressure picture and May diagnoses it cleanly. RPO, glance bubble, returns to the menu with a vengeance. The result is simple. Third and manageable first downs become routine, the red zone gets more creative, and the clock turns from enemy to ally. Risk always exists. Miami could clamp down, another contender could bid the price up, but once you have the quarterback, your obligation is to surround him with ammunition. Waddle isn't just another receiver, he's a scheme multiplier who sends a message to the locker room and the league at large. File that away, because what comes next might be even wilder. You know how a topic disappears for a few weeks and then returns louder than before? That's where we are with Kyle Duggar. Reports during camp said the team took calls, but his $9.75 million number stalled movement. New England kept him on the roster, the defense found its footing under Mike Vrabel, and now that the team's at 5-2, the question has reemerged. Do you cash in on a veteran's value or double down on a tactical pillar whose arrow is pointed up? Strip away the emotion, and the picture is clear. Duggar is the longest tenured Patriot, has 2 more years on the deal, but no guarantees beyond this season. In cap language, that's flexibility for the club and a pressure point for rivals trying to buy low. National reporting has again linked interest, and it tracks because he offers something rare, true versatility. He can play big nickel versus 12 personnel, drop as a robber to erase in-breaking routes, lock up big tight ends in press man, close the alley versus outside zone, and still threaten off the edge as a blitzer. That package gets even more valuable in January. Recent context matters. With injuries at the position, Duggar stacked 100-plus defensive snaps over the last 2 weeks and reminded everyone why he's been an emergency brake since 2020. Pre-snap communication, quick checks when offenses shift strength, leverage discipline to shut down the slot's access to the middle. These aren't highlight plays, but they save yards and bleed seconds. For a defense leaning on aggressive fronts and pressure looks, having a safety who understands space and timing lets the coordinator pull triggers without selling out the coverage. There's also the asset management argument. If someone offers a mid-rounder plus a cheap young contributor on special teams, you sit down and listen. But selling just to sell, because guarantees are light, could unbalance a rotation that's already thin. And there's the message to the room. Moving a respected veteran while the arrow trends up either reaffirms a fearless plan or reads like a step back. Vrabel preaches perimeter physicality and secure tackling, removing the safety blanket on the back end changes coverage math and elevates the risk of explosive plays. On the chalkboard, Duggar unlocks calls New England is already teasing, late rotation into cover 3 buzz, simulated pressures with green dog rules, disguises that start with 2 high shells. With him on the field, the coordinator can bluff nickel pressure and still choke the glance window on RPOs, forcing quarterbacks to hold the ball just a beat longer. Long enough for Christian Barmore or Milton Williams to win inside. My read today is straightforward. Keeping Duggar through the season preserves sub-package flexibility and the communication chemistry that took 8 games to solidify. If someone pays starter price, we'll talk. Short of that, protecting the core makes more sense than chasing savings that don't win in January. And while we're all wrestling with that, the next development adds a twist you didn't see coming. When we talk about defensive identity, everything starts in the belly of the line. New England has a steel heart up front, Milton Williams and Christian Barmore, 2 game wreckers who force opposing coordinators to redraw protections, slide centers, and still live on the edge. The money invested in them tells you the plan. When the middle is fortified, everything else breathes. Edges get one-on-ones, linebackers scrape clean, the secondary steals steps. But the real story goes beyond the stars. A rookie is climbing the rotation and changing the tone. Joshua Farmer arrived as depth and is paying back snaps with discipline. This isn't about gaudy numbers. It's about consistent technique, key read focus, and a motor that doesn't quit. Over recent weeks, his share has risen alongside the quiet plays that fuel defensive first downs, squeezing the duo crease, striking inside hand to wrong-arm the back, pouncing on a loose ball in Buffalo, knifing for a tackle for loss in New Orleans. When the D-line coach says the secret is eliminating repeat mistakes, he's also saying the staff already trusts the rookie to execute second and long plans without fear. The room's profiles mesh beautifully. Williams and Barmore destroy base blocks and generate elite interior pressure on third down. Khyiris Tonga anchors as a nose, shuts the A-gap, and stabilizes run fits. Farmer is the glue, maintaining level when the stars catch a breath, reading the center's scoop, staying low through contact, blowing up screens before they develop. That balance allows New England to sustain 4-man rotation snaps without losing execution, the exact currency that pays out in January when depth becomes a championship. On tape, the multiplier effect is obvious. With the top duo eating 2 gaps by design, the coordinator can dial simulated pressure off the edges, hide nickel blitz, and still seal the interior. Against RPO-heavy systems, interior collapse deletes the quarterback's first read half a second earlier. Add Farmer's disciplined hands and footwork, and you rarely surrender the edge on traps and whams. The defense dictates pace, forces third and medium, and turns drives into field goals. Fans have noticed the chatter is that the front is finally winning on base technique, not just scheme, and it feeds the offense. When the defense owns the line and the clock, Drake May gets short fields and unpredictability back. That synergy is how big games tilt. Now, let's talk about the new arrival who won't grab headlines in July but tends to matter in January. With Antonio Gibson down for the year and a 53-man spot open, the front office went to the waiver wire and reunited Mike Vrabel with a familiar name, Caleb Murphy, ex-Titans, ex-Chargers, 25 years old, 3rd NFL season, monster college production, and one label you only appreciate when the margins decide games, Core 4 special teamer. In Los Angeles, he played all phases, kickoff return and coverage, punt return and coverage, plus the field goal extra point block unit. He's the blue-collar piece who steals invisible yards and shifts field math without asking for the spotlight. Before sacks, understand the immediate impact. Losing Gibson took a reliable returner and a stabilizer out of the third phase. Filling that hole with a high IQ linebacker for teams says everything about philosophy: own field position, control tempo, and lighten the load on a young offense. It's situational football, pure Vrabel. A punt that dies at the 7 instead of the 20 changes calls, forces predictability, and lets the defense attack with a knife in its teeth. Repeat that edge for 4 quarters and you're talking about an extra possession and the difference between 3 points and 7. Defensively, Murphy isn't arriving to start, but the tape shows real tools. Contain awareness, edge discipline versus wham and trap, honest pad level, and a sharp cross chop to attack the tackle's outside hand. In 3rd and long sub packages, you can deploy him as a wide 9 to stretch protection and open the inside rush lane for Barmore and Williams to collapse the pocket. If the plan calls for a situation